Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal. It's Monday, Arsenal are top of the table, they've just won at Chelsea again. Everything is good, except for the weather, which is rubbish, but who cares about that when everything else is good in the world of Arsenal. Great day at Stamford Bridge yesterday. That place honestly used to give me nightmares going to Stamford Bridge for so long, but now recently it's become a bit of a playground for Arsenal. 3 wins in a row there in the league, and I love the evolution of each of those wins as well. You think back to the first one in COVID, the 1-0 when Arsenal pretty much got schooled off the pitch by Chelsea, scored an early goal, held on, got a 1-0 win. And last season, the 4-2, bit of a hectic, frenetic game, went sort of end to end, and then yesterday just total dominance pretty much for 90 minutes. It's just that evolution of how things have gone over the last few years and the improvements that Arsenal have made, and I thought it really showed in that victory at Stamford Bridge yesterday, which, you know, I was watching the highlights this morning, there wasn't one single highlight for Chelsea, and I think that just summed it up. To go to Stamford Bridge and just dominate for 90 minutes. Yes, Chelsea were missing a couple of players, but you know, you've still got to go there and perform and play well, and Arsenal did exactly that yesterday. Just a really good win. Under pressure as well after Man City winning the day before against Fulham. Absolute dive by Kevin De Bruyne for that penalty. Honestly, I can't believe so many people think that was a penalty. It's just, yes, there was contact, but no way. He wouldn't even have had to stumble from that amount of contact, let alone throw his legs in the air. It was a dive, absolute dive. But anyway, enough about that game. Arsenal responded yesterday and got the win they needed. And, you know, Mikel Arteta, obviously very happy man afterwards in his press conference, as you can imagine. It's another step as a team to come here against a top opponent, top manager, world-class players around the pitch and dominate the game and actually win. It's very meaningful, and hopefully it will give the boys more belief. And I think that's really key, the belief factor, because Arsenal went to Old Trafford early in the season, played just as well almost as they did yesterday, I thought. Very similar performance, but they lost at Old Trafford. They got caught sort of sucker punch counter-attacks and got punished by Man United, and that was the one difference from yesterday. They didn't let Chelsea, it just didn't give them a sniff. They were so professional, so dominant at the back, just did not give Chelsea a sniff. Like, I mean, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, 8 touches. What just a horrendous day for Aubameyang after giving it all that on the advert and the sort of build-up to the game. And I think that's the improvement Arsenal made from Old Trafford to Stamford Bridge, because in terms of attacking and dominating the ball, it was a very similar type performance, but they just didn't allow themselves any mistakes at the back, and that gave them the foundation to go up and get the goal they needed to get the win. And Mikel was asked on the difference between the game at Old Trafford and Stamford Bridge this season. He said, "We lacked discipline in that game at United. We lacked the discipline that is necessary in certain moments to do what we had to do, because if not, you get punched." And I think we learned that lesson really well, because I think we played really well there, but it wasn't enough to win. That's the difference, and that's how the top teams do it. And that's it. You've got to learn from those defeats. And as disappointing as that defeat in Old Trafford was, and I remember saying it at the time when I came away from there, it just felt different because Arsenal got up there and they played with personality and had actually put on a bit of a performance there, and that's something they've done in recent years at Old Trafford. So I didn't come away from that game absolutely demoralised. I came away more frustrated that Arsenal had missed their opportunity to actually get the win. But yesterday, it just showed they learned. They had a slightly different threat to deal with Chelsea. They didn't have that counter-attacking threat that Man United did. But even so, you know, Chelsea's still got plenty of players who can punish you on that pitch, and Arsenal just dealt with them really well. And I thought that was the most pleasing thing for me of that whole performance yesterday, was just the way that Arsenal matched up all over the pitch. They just didn't make any sloppy errors. It was a really professional performance. A performance of title challengers. And I know none of us really want to say it. You don't want to get carried away, and you're going up against this dominant Manchester City team. But, you know, that yesterday was the sort of performance that if you're going to win a title, and I'm not saying Arsenal are going to win the title, but if you are going to win a title, you've got to go to the likes of Chelsea and get a win like that. And for so long now we've seen Arsenal not do it. But to go there yesterday, to back up the wins at home against Tottenham and Liverpool, you know, it was a really big thing. And no wonder Mikel and the players were so happy about it. William Saliba, I mean, I don't really know what more to say about William Saliba, but I feel like I've got to talk about him because he was so good at Stamford Bridge. What an incredible talent he is. him and Gabriel, I mean, Gabriel was fantastic as well. And, you know, when Gabriel plays like that, yes, he's made a few errors this season, but when Gabriel doesn't do anything silly and he has his head absolutely switched on, he's so dominant and he's just got all the attributes to be one of the very best defenders. And him and Saliba yesterday were fantastic. They got praise afterwards from Mikel Arteta, justifiably so, because they were so good. But, you know, I just thought Saliba was just on another level of everyone else on that pitch yesterday. He was an absolute superstar, deservedly got man of the match. And it's incredible how young he is and the way he's adapted to the Premier League. We all knew how well he did over in France, and he was coming back and he looked like an excellent player. He'd done it for France on the international level as well. So we knew he was a fantastic player, but still there was slight question marks at how quickly could he adjust to the Premier League. Would he struggle with the Premier League? He's just taken to it like a duck to water. And yesterday it was just such a calm, assured, dominant performance from Saliba. What he was like in the air, what he was like in one-to-one duels, his pace, his recovery to get back, the way he dealt first with Aubameyang and then with this sort of added physicality of Broja. When he went for, I mean, that run down the right wing in the second half was just ridiculous. It was such a shame he got the cross wrong, but the run down that right wing and the ability to do it, the pace, it was just so impressive. And you kind of run out of superlatives to describe William Saliba. And it was just having those two, that centre-back partnership. And I touched it yesterday on the video I did afterwards from the press box when I did my player ratings. That the power of those two together, Gabriel and Saliba, when you've got Thomas Partey ahead of them as well, that little defensive triangle in front of Aaron Ramsdale was so strong. When they're all on it and they're all fit, it's such a... You can see why Arsenal kept 5 clean sheets from 7 Premier League away games this season. Let's just put it that way. And, you know, Saliba's obviously getting a lot of headlines, and deservedly so. Each week that goes by, there's more focus on his contract because of these type of performances. But, I mean, at Arsenal, you know you've got to be savvy when it comes to wage bills. You don't want to be getting yourselves in trouble when it comes to wage bills. But honestly, and I know it's not as simple as this, but you just got to throw the money at Saliba and get him to stay, get him to sign, get it done. Avoid any doubt as it drags on and on and on. Just, you've got to try and get this deal over the line as quickly as possible, because every single football club in Europe will be looking at his performances this season, looking at the sort of performance he did yesterday, just being like, wow, we've got to try and get this guy signed on. So Arsenal have to get this deal done, and I know you all think it as well. It's just got to be done, because wow, what an unbelievable talent. I mean, I think yesterday was his best performance of the season. He's put in so many of them, but to do it at Stamford Bridge in a game of that importance and to play that well, it was just a performance of a 25, 26, 27-year-old, you know, established Premier League centre-back. He was that good. And it was fantastic to see, and deserved praise afterwards for Arteta. There was plenty of performance. Ben White, I thought, was absolutely exceptional as well. I mean, I've said it so many times now, there's no point in me saying it again, but if he doesnn make the England World Cup squad, it's just laughable, absolutely laughable. He should be one of the first names on the team sheets, let alone just on the team sheet. So good. Ben White yesterday, Gabriel as well, Thomas Partey. I'd say Gabriel Jesus didn't score, which was frustrating. It's another game without a goal, blah, blah, blah. We know that. He should have scored the header, which would have been an absolute worldy goal. Just brilliant team move that kind of summed up and encapsulated Mikel Arteta's team at the moment. Was that team move, and had he scored, would have been so good. But his performance, when you sort of compare the two strikers in that game yesterday, Jesus on one end, Aubameyang at the other, what those two contributed to their teams, I mean, it's just poles apart. And when you look at Aubameyang and what the sort of performance he put in yesterday, I don't want to dig Aubameyang out, but when you look at that sort of performance, and when, you know, he's not involved, what else he offers? Zero, nothing. And you think back to what Arsenal were when they had sort of him leading the line and Lacazette leading the line. And then you look at what Jesus, even if he's not scoring, does to that team. It's just massive. I mean, Jesus was everywhere yesterday, absolutely everywhere. The goal came from him robbing Thiago Silva of the ball and ended up winning the corner after his shot was saved. And the last 20 minutes especially, I thought Jesus was fantastic. And it's frustrating he didn't score a goal. Yes, ultimately he's a striker, so you will be judged on that, and it is an issue. He needs to start scoring, we know that. But even though he's not, what he's bringing to that team is fantastic, and I thought he was superb, especially in the second half yesterday. Just so many good performances. And let me know what you guys think anyway about everything so far I've said in this video. Who was your star man? How much should Arsenal pay Saliba? Just let me know anything of your thoughts on the game yesterday in the comments below. Champions League draws going on at the time of me doing this video, by the way, and Liverpool got Real Madrid. Wow, what a draw that is going to be. Certainly when the Champions League returns, that is a mouth-watering prospect indeed. Oleksandr Zinchenko back yesterday after, about 5 weeks out since the Tottenham game. Good to see him back. I thought it was a little bit rusty, understandably so, but still good to see him back. He spoke after the game in the mix zone. Some interesting comments from him. Now, Mikel Arteta in his press conference yesterday after the game kind of, for the first time, said that Arsenal were in a title race. He did sort of caveat it a little bit and saying, look, for now we're in contention because we're top of the league. Today and tomorrow things can happen and change very, very quickly in football. So he kind of caveated it a bit, but that was the first time so far that he's kind of moved away from the game-by-game stance that he always says and admitted that Arsenal were in contention. And Zinchenko was talking about it as well, and he said, I thought these were interesting comments from Zinchenko, who's obviously won 4 Premier League titles. He's come from Manchester City, so he knows what that club's about. He knows how difficult it's going to be to compete with them. This is what he said. He said, I've got used to hearing that Arsenal means straight away in your mind just top four. I really want to kill and destroy this stereotype. We need to look further, and I think this team, this group of people, the fans, they deserve more. We need to work hard, and then let's see at the end of the season. You asked me if we can challenge Man City. Of course, they are an amazing team, but you never know what can happen in football. We need to go step by step with every single game. I like that from Zinchenko there. It wasn't like him shouting from the rooftops, we're going to go for the title, but it was enough to see, you can see the mindset in this changing room right now. It's not just about top 4, it's about more than that. And I thought that was good. I mean, look, we know Zinchenko, he's a winner, he's used to winning, he's come from Manchester City, he's won it all, he's won 4 Premier League titles, but he's not willing to just let Man City run away with it this season. Arsenal are going to chase, they're probably not going to get there because, let's face it, Man City are just on another level to everyone in England right now. But Arsenal are where they deserve to be at the moment. They're top of the table. They've had their best start to a Premier League season ever. Not Premier League season ever in the club's history. They deserve to be at the top. And you can't say that they're not going to stay there, because who knows in football? Leicester won it not so long ago. Everyone expected them to fall away. It didn't happen. Anything can happen in football. And I just really like Zinchenko's comments there, and I think it's a real good insight into what they're thinking at the dressing room. They know they've got to take it game by game. They know they've got to work hard, but they're not willing to just settle for, let's get top 4. We're in a good position. Let's make sure we stay in the top 4. They want more. They think they can get more. They're going to go for it, and they're going to continue to play. And I thought it was a really good mindset yesterday. And I think you saw by the celebrations after the game as well on the pitch, they believe in themselves. They're beginning to believe in themselves. And each win they get, like going a win at Chelsea, it's just going to add to that belief. And, they don't want to limit themselves with any sort of target, top 4 target. They just want to do whatever they can achieve, and they're going to keep playing it game by game to see where they can go. And, I think Zinchenko and Jesus have added so much to that squad in terms of belief and helping everyone else sort of believe that they can do something special this year. So great to see Zinchenko back. And I thought those were interesting comments. There'll be more coming out from him at 12 o'clock. Today, you'll probably be watching this by 12 o'clock. They're embargoed until then. I'll have put summer quotes out on goal.com, and so you'll be able to find out more from Zinchenko then. Wolves, Wednesday night. Little bit of a break. Not Wolves on Wednesday night. Getting ahead of themselves. Wolves on Saturday. Obviously, Brighton is on Wednesday night. So Arsenal turn their attentions to the Carabao Cup this week before finishing in the Premier League on Saturday away at Wolves, and then it's a World Cup break, of course. Brighton, I think we're going to see, the Europa League team, I imagine. So there'll be a few of the starters. I think you'll kind of look at the players who started against who was it in the Europa League on Thursday? FC Zurich. You look at the players, the sort of Premier League starters who started that game, I imagine they'll get a bit of a rest. So I can't see Gabriel Jesus starting because he started against Zurich. Players like Gabriel as well, those sort of players I think will get a bit of a rest. Ben White will get a rest. Depending on what happens with Matt Turner, if he's fit, Matt Turner will come back in. If not, Aaron Ramsdale may get another start. But then Nketiah will come in Probably Reece Nelson will come in, Sambi, Mohamed Elneny, those sort of players. Mikel will use it like he's been using the Europa League games. So there'll be one or two, or more than that, there'll probably be 3 or 4 of the regular Premier League starters involved. And then the rest will be players coming in who need the minutes. Kieran Tierney, for example, who got some minutes against Chelsea but didn't start. So, yeah, no press conference ahead of that game because it's Carabao Cup. Arsenal don't tend to do them. So we're not going to London Colney before the game on Wednesday. Next time we'll be there, we'll be ahead of the game against Wolves. I imagine we'll be down there on Friday, so keep your eyes peeled from that. Until then, have a very good Monday, the rest of your Monday, whatever it is you're doing. Enjoy looking at the Premier League table, and I'll speak to you very, very soon. Thanks for watching.